Are you ready to get the hydrofacial glow? Loved in 87 countries across the world. It's not a facial, it's a hydrofacial. Now available across the UK. Visit hydrofacial.co.uk to find your nearest location.
I think if you become a YouTube influencer. Hey guys, this is a pen. I've got a pen here. This is an incredible thing. Look, the top comes off like that. There's kind of about five colors that you can get it in.
Hello, Friday.
Oh,
I was just remembering, girls, when we started this show 4,875 years ago, that I remember, do you remember, Sherry, that you suddenly disappeared and you were on the floor looking for something and we couldn't get, we didn't, something had happened to you. I suddenly remembered that. And your box was empty, if you excuse the euphemism, but you were completely gone and something had happened on the floor. Do you remember that?
no. I don't either.
I don't either. I think
short-term and long-term memory loss.
No.
I remember Sherry not being in her little box.
Oh
wow! I've never left this box.
Been there for years.
Neither of us. None of us have.
No.
Well, you know, I said about dress up. You know, I said dress up Friday, and I said it was going to be a week. So this is another coat with a story. So I have coats with stories.
That's a whole book, darling. That's a coffee.
This is a new book. Exactly. Why not? And this belonged to my mum. And it is, and you'll know and understand this, Harriet, because of your abs fabs, you know, wonderful connection. And it's a Le Croix. It is Le Croix. Yes.
What's a Le Croix?
And they talk about Le Croix all the time in the show. And it actually, I looked at it this morning, and I love it. Look, isn't it beautiful?
Très glam.
Velvet and all the rest of it, and it's faux fur.
What is on your head?
I'm not quite
It's
sure.
like a tea caddy, actually.
Yes, I was going to say.
I'm not quite sure, darling, because you know me with my hats, and
I think it's more like a placemat on a table that she's just.
it's a bit hit and miss today.
Yes.
It is a bit. Yeah.
Dee, you've just had your hair cut and it looks so lovely. Why don't you show your hair?
Right.
Thank you.
So this is the new haircut.
Yeah,
Yes.
how nice.
Thank you.
Very Bobby, lovely, gorgeous,
Yeah.
glamorous.
Thank you very much. It was Ian actually who does Lulu's hair, doesn't he, Debbie?
He used
Mic
to do
drop.
Lulu's hair.
Mic drop. Anyway, who's coming in today?
Ooh.
Very, very exciting. Well, he is not just a Hollywood and movie and film and television actor. He's not just a comedian. He's not just a Thunderbird, but he is an honorary Wonderbird. And it's the amazing and lovely Sanjeev Bhaskar.
Hi. Welcome.
Hi, Danny. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you all?
Good. You look very well.
All the better for seeing you, darling.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
Much better.
very kind of you. And can I say how wonderful it is to be back with Debbie D, Dozy, Mick and Titch. On...
Sherry, we didn't get a mention there. Did you see that? It's an outrage.
Yes, you did.
I think you did.
You did. No,
Well, am I Mick or am I Titch? Which one?
Well, that's up to you to decide. It's kind of, well, Mick and Titch is one person, obviously. Otherwise, the numbers don't work out. So it's Mick and Titch is one person.
Okay.
Oh,
thank you.
darling, it's so lovely to see you. Darling, you're
Well,
looking great, actually. What have you been up to since we last chatted on Wonderbirds?
Mainly trying to kind of work out how to deal with Christmas weight added to pandemic weight. So basically, I'm breathing in at the moment as I'm speaking to you.
Aren't we all?
And it's just come at the wrong time. It's that horrible thing where, you know, Christmas, you feel like you need a treat, and and so you treat yourself, and then suddenly it's January. January comes along, and it's kind of, oh, I still want to treat myself.
Yeah, I know. I've got
You need to-
relatives that they used to fit, and now they won't even go around any part of me. So it's just impossible. I can't get clothes on, knickers on, tights, nothing.
Too much.
She's
Too
got
much
no knickers on, obviously,
Don't
Sanjeev.
need to know. Yeah.
Well, I'm still
Yes.
trying to wrestle with the idea of any part of me. I couldn't get it on any part of me.
And
Why
nobody
would
There's a
on
we have a
anywhere
lot of parts.
Sanji, don't you find, haven't you found this? Because I don't know if you have as well, girls, is that the wait has gone on in places it never did before. So on
What,
one
you
side
mean-
to put weights. What? No,
You mean
no,
like,
so
like in Sunderland or something?
I come from, no, I mean, I've never ever had a fat.
Why, Apex?
Darling, my back is like a duvet. That's all I'm saying to you. That it's a back fat duvet hell. So welcome to
I've never
cozy.
got back fat, and weight has come on here and under my arms.
Yes.
And, you know,
I know,
weird
but and
places.
also it makes your back ache. I've got a hot water bottle stuck down my knickers at this very moment.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Sanjeev, you had to hear that.
Because
never-
I honestly don't know what to say. I feel like I've intruded in some way.
It's a
I think-
self-help hot water bottle group. So I'm
It's
so sorry.
crazy.
thank God for hot water bottles. That's
Well,
all
can I just say, please don't sit down. Please don't sit down. It could be a disaster.
Yes, we talk a lot about bloating on this show, Sanjeev.
Well,
Oh,
Sherry
right.
does.
Oh, are you on a diet?
Am I on a diet?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to be more mindful about what I eat in terms of, but you know, trying being the operative word, and
Thank you.
not mindful so much as trying. And it's that thing of, you know, what's the phrase? You know, thinking about it is half the battle won.
Yes.
So I'm quite happy with half a battle won, actually, because I wasn't expecting to win anything at all. So I'm ahead of the game. But no, I am trying to kind of cut down on carbs and, you know, that sort of thing.
Word, Sanjeev, that we've all forgotten about called work. Have you heard about
What's
this?
that?
What's that?
What's that?
It
I don't
vaguely
know,
rings a
somebody said it
bell.
to
But
me. I know. And the other word is paid. Money.
paid. Oh my goodness. Gosh,
No,
no,
I
that-
don't know what that is.
Paid money.
Yes, what is that?
No,
I think
never
I
know.
dreamt it. I thought I dreamt it. I thought I
Yeah,
dreamt that I'd
nightmare.
done some work and then somebody had given me some money for it. It's
What
I-
world are you
maybe-
in?
a world where I just gain weight and don't get paid. Now, if you get paid to gain weight,
Hey,
maybe that's the key,
there's
isn't
a
it?
show we should
Yes.
write.
Yeah.
There was a show like that.
Because every pound
Was
you get,
it?
if every pound you get £100, then we'd be.
No, Dee, they were paid
We'd
to
be very
lose
wealthy.
weight, not to gain it, darling. That was the show. The idea was the opposite, that you'd lose weight and then you get money, not to put on
Yes.
weight. That never happened, which is why we
Yes.
should start this new convention.
Sanjeev, I need to know about, you know, the last series that you did with Nicola Walker, which was so, the ending was just so awful. Is it coming back without her?
It is. In fact, we start in 2 months. So the scripts are through, which I've read, and which are great. And yeah, we start filming, I think middle of March sometime.
And so what are we playing, darling?
There's a character I've been playing before, which is
not you,
DI's.
us. No,
Which
it's us.
characters are you playing?
Are we all
Yeah.
playing?
Us.
Well,
Us.
Debbie,
No,
Debbie
Sanjeev,
D,
tell us
Dozy,
about
Mick, and
that.
Titch. Obviously,
Tell us about what's happening with the show.
With the band in the local pub.
you are the band.
Yeah, we're the band.
You. But
And in that
okay.
cunning way, always kind of off screen.
Yes, always off.
Yeah.
I heard a little bird told me, Sanjeev, that you actually had an affiliation with Elvis. Is that true?
Well, an affiliation, that's kind of a very strange and broad term, isn't it? Well, I'm a huge fan. Never met
Yes.
him, obviously, but I did meet Priscilla, or I have met Priscilla a couple of times.
Yes, that's
Wow.
right.
And a lot of members of Elvis's band as well, going back to Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana, who played in the Sun session. So they played the original Blue Suede Shoes, Hound Dog, all that stuff.
Wow.
So I met
Oh,
them.
amazing.
So that was incredibly exciting for a huge fan like me. It was
Yeah.
as close as I was going to get to meet Elvis, really.
Yeah.
I was meeting the
But I'm
people
sorry
around
to
him.
take you back. Please tell us what's happening with the series. Will you be quiet, girls? I need to know.
Well, it's starting in a couple of months' time.
Yeah.
I've seen the scripts. Obviously, I can't tell you what's in them.
Oh no.
The rucksack, the backpack will be back.
Good.
That is there. So I hope that I'll be filling that with stupid things that I'll be posting again, like I have in previous series. But no, I mean, it'll be very strange with that Nicola. I mean, she's, apart from her being brilliant and being brilliant at that character, you know, I was going to work every day to see a friend, and so that will be strange, but new challenges.
Yeah, I kind of like the way, you know, we're seeing life without her, funnily enough. I mean, even though that the end was it was just so unexpected, wasn't it? It was like one of those, wow.
Yeah, it was unexpected until I was told, and then it felt unexpected when I read the scripts, and then it felt unexpected when we were doing the scenes. It was kind of, it was a strange feeling every single time I encountered it. And I mean, in a way, it's, you know, life goes on. And so that is kind of part of why the series is going on, is because life does, and you cope with those kind of incredibly tragic things, as many people have had to do in real life over the last couple of years. I mean, it's you know, it's one of those things where, in a way, it's not trying to be optimistic. It's just the way it is. And I'm not sure there's many series I can think of. There are a few which have continued and with that kind of ethos in mind, you know, that they haven't just recast everybody or pretended it hasn't happened. They go on from that particular point. And that's one of the things with this story, is it does pick up almost sort of directly story wise, but sort of 8-9 months later.
Yeah. Ooh, I can't wait. When's it coming out, you know?
No, I think we finished filming probably mid-June, so I guess if they edited it straight away, probably the beginning of the autumn, I guess it would be ready, and then it's just up to ITV, I guess, as to when they put it out.
Sure.
Ooh, excited.
What would you actually like to do next? I mean, what if you had sort of you know, a wish, what would you like to would you like to be in a movie again? Or I'm sure you have lots of scripts being sent to you, but what would you like to do?
I don't have too many. There's been one that's been sent, which is kind of interesting. But you know, if we're talking fantasy world, which we obviously are, then you know, then both Doctor Who and James Bond are up for grabs.
There you go.
Now you're talking.
Both.
I don't see why I can't play both.
Exactly.
Really, you can.
Of course you can.
I think so. And and the, you know, leader of the country's job is probably coming up for grabs as well, but that's not particularly one that I want. But yeah, do you know, I mean, the thing is that, you know, we're so lucky to be doing something we love. I mean, it's such a privilege, because most of the planet really doesn't get that kind of glorious opportunity. And so anything that comes up, you know, in whatever sort of area, you know, whatever genre, it's the experience of doing it is the thing that's real, you know, not whether you know, it's success afterwards in terms of, you know, other people's interpretation of success. And so the one thing with that is you get to hang out with other people who are just as lucky as you are, and those are wonderful connections. You know, the thing as a kid, you know, of Indian parents growing up in Britain, the urge to kind of to work out where you fit in was always really strong, because you're never quite sure where you fit in. And it was only when I found you know, this line of work, and found, you know, people like yourselves, you know, creative people, I suddenly realized, oh, that's my tribe. It's not those other things. It's not about what other people define as community or your background or your culture or whatever. It's this, you know, wonderfully shared vocabulary and experiences that is just so thrilling. And luckily, you know, we encounter that in radio, in theatre, on television and film, and if you can't get any of those things, just hanging out.
The emotional immediacy, that it's instantaneous, because that's how we work, and the also the culture of acceptance, that we're all together, and that's all that matters, really, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's always disappointing on a project when you find somebody, particularly like, not simply within actors, but somebody who, for whatever reasons, whether it's ego, whether it's fear, whether it's their experiences up until that point, are not a team player.
Yeah,
it's just a shame. It's just a shame. You know, you're going to go, you could be gaining so much more, but you know, your ego, bitterness, whatever, is kind of like holding you back from connecting. And as you say, you know, we're hardwired to find those connections, because we have to, you know, sort of create relationships in unfeasibly short spaces of time. And that's just wonderful, isn't it? It's kind of, I don't think I've ever been disappointed at a work experience where I had a great time and met great people, and the show didn't go on or wasn't a success. I've never regretted those at all. But funnily enough, the other way round, where the thing could have made money or it could have been successful in other people's terms, and I had an awful time on set, I wouldn't want to revisit.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes the worst things that you've done, terrible plays and films and whatever, are the most fun that you've ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and those are where sort of longer term friendships and stuff are born. They're born out of that shared experience again.
Absolutely.
Also, I know I say this to you, but the Kumars would be my greatest wish. That would be my
yes.
Bless you. I mean, I would love to do that again. And the advantage I have is that the grandmother hasn't aged at all. So she would sort of pick up exactly where we left off, whereas everyone else would be looking sort of decades older. But, no, it was a joy to do. That mix of script and improvisation, and also people again who were willing to play the game, the ones who kind of joined in. There were a few that didn't, that were just rabbit in headlights and just didn't know what to do. But actually, when they threw something back, it was incredibly exciting. If they sided with a member of the family against someone else in the family, you just had to deal with it. And it was great joy to do. I would love to read it.
It's the right time for it to come back now, I think.
I was thinking that.
Perfect.
It is.
Absolutely.
Because of my lack of work.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Come on, you're working in 2 weeks' time.
2 months, but,
you never stop, Sanjeev.
Well, I never stopped working. I just stopped getting paid. So never stopped working.
You can't have everything. You can't
have everything. This is true. I'd rather not work and be paid rather than work and not be paid.
That would be good.
That way around would be good.
Yeah,
I think if you become a YouTube influencer, because I can't see what they really do. Other than just kind
of though, don't they? They get paid.
Huge amount.
They do.
Well,
they do get paid. I mean,
put the kettle on, don't they? They get in the house and they water the plants. Or I don't understand.
I don't understand
the same. I'm just watching it, thinking, well, what do you do to become an influencer?
Scrub the floor.
No,
you have to scrub the floor in a special way, don't you? Otherwise, you're just down to kind of, hey guys, this is a pen. I've got a pen here. This is an incredible thing. Look, the top comes off like that. There's kind of about five colors that you can get it in. It doesn't write upside down because there's ink in this little bit here. This is incredible, guys. Go and get one. I mean, it's just, it's
brilliant.
Bic is coming for you now. Bic is going to be after you, big time.
You see, I kind of big time.
Big time.
Big time.
You are a bit.
That's what you can call it. This is my big time. Brilliant, Harriet.
Yeah, they are going to be after you, babes. Yeah.
I think since you've come up with the idea, I think it's all yours.
Okay. If you want it, you can have it.
Big time rather than back time.
Where are you sitting? I'm very interested in the books behind you at the moment.
Well, it's
cupboard.
It is. It's like Harry Potter, isn't it? I get locked in here by the missus. And no, I tried this. I'm old-fashioned, so DVDs. I've got these are DVDs from, what is this? R2W is over here. And then in the corner, can you catch it? Oh, there's an Emmy.
Yeah.
Oh, notice the Emmy.
Mic drop.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. There's a Peabody underneath it. And then a travel suitcase. And then the books behind me, they're sort of these are kind of, so I've got Paul McCartney's lyrics here, the Get Back. Have you seen the Get Back series? The Beatles one, the Peter Jackson song?
They're brilliant.
It's mind-blowing. It transforms the history of the end of the Beatles.
Wow.
Everyone supposes that when they were doing Let It Be, they were all at each other's throats and they were bickering and that was the breakup. And actually, it's 6 hours, but you absolutely feel like you're a fly on the wall. And also, you kind of think that you know, because we know the Beatles songs so well, you kind of think that you know how they work. You know, John was a bit acerbic and Paul was kind of up and positive. George was the quiet one. And, you know, Ringo was kind of quietly humorous and everything. But actually you see how these songs are created, and it's extraordinary. Their telepathy when it came to, you know, what they did. You get an insight into all of that as well. And the other thing that's kind of mind-blowingly shocking, no, it's not shocking, it's surprising, a reminder, is that they were all about 27, 28 years old.
Extraordinary.
And this was, I mean, this is kind of, you know, the most kind of popular band, and in my opinion, the best music band ever. But at the time they split up, they were under 30, which just seems ludicrous now.
Yes, we forget.
But if you love the Beatles, like I do, then it is like being in a time machine. It's like you've gone back and someone's let you stand in a corner.
Oh wow! I've got to watch that. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Where can we see that, Sanjeev?
I think that's on Disney Plus.
Right.
It's 6 hours worth.
Wow.
And it's got, you know, the famous rooftop concert.
Yeah.
Which was the last time they ever performed together in public. Well, there's the way that Peter Jackson has kind of edited this, because I think everyone has seen clips of them singing "Get Back" up there, or is that the police come to stop them, and so what he's done in sort of real time is split between them playing these songs at the top and chatting to each other and getting set up, and the police kind of coming through the streets, getting to the Apple building, trying to get access to the roof, them being refused because people downstairs are buying time, them getting onto the roof. I mean, all of that stuff is done this split screen real time, which is extraordinary. It kind of works as a mini film.
Wow. Can't wait to see that.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it. But it's very interesting you said they were so young, because it seems like in those days, younger people did things when they were younger. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like people were very successful when they were younger, but now people are sort of like in their 30s or 40s. It's become the new 20s. Do you know what I mean?
I do, except I would say that the YouTube influencers are all incredibly young. I think the difference is that particularly youth culture started, you know, at the end of the 50s, and so that emphasis on, you know, the kids can do anything, that permeated from the end of the 50s through the 60s into the 70s, probably up to punk. And around that time, you know, there was an incredible kind of belief, I think, that young people had that they could go out and do something, but they were doing something. Whereas I think what was interesting to me was that, you know, the people that were on my wall when I was a teenager are now, you know, either no longer around or they're sort of in their 80s.
Yeah.
But they're all still quite vital. So someone like Paul McCartney is still creating stuff. There's no barrier to him. So that sense, also, I got the feeling that, you know, in the sort of 50s, well, 60s to the 70s, that actually once you were over 50, you were kind of decrepit.
Yeah.
Whereas
now,
I think, I think now there is that understanding, particularly if you're creative or you're innovative, that you that can extend across a much kind of broader range.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the thing with the age thing. I think they were kind of unique in that they were so young when they split up, that they'd created a body of work that was so extraordinary, like Mozart. You know, Mozart died at 32 or whatever it was, but you know, the body of work he'd created by then, you know, was so extraordinary that it kind of lives to this day. So yeah, I think that was the thing with age, I think, with them. I mean, I went to a screening of a bit of Get Back, and Paul McCartney introduced it, and I was chatting to him afterwards, and he was saying that what was extraordinary for him and emotional for him was that this was the first time he could observe the others. He said, otherwise I was always in the middle of it. But he said, now I could actually watch them and see them. And he said it was incredibly emotional for him.
How amazing.
Did any of you ever see them live, or have you seen any of them?
I did. The weird thing happened with me was that when I saw them at the Sunderland Empire, when they were, funny you mentioned Sunderland, when they were supporting Helen Shapiro.
Right.
And my mother and my stepfather, my mother, so that must have been not my stepfather. So my mother took me along backstage, and I remember seeing them standing outside, and they were smoking outside the stage door. And I sort of saw them, and that was it. And I was only about, I don't know, 6 or 7 or something. And then all I'd wanted to see was Helen Shapiro. Not those dirty. They looked dirty. My mum said they were dirty. I mean, how ridiculous. And they weren't, they were just starting then. And then within 6 months, I was screaming the fact that I could have met them in real life. How ridiculous is that?
And I come from Nottingham, and I saw them at the theatre, the Gaumont in Nottingham. And I think I was about 11. I remember sitting upstairs, and they were like that big, and never heard a word, never heard any songs, screaming. And I was on the circle, and the circle was literally doing that.
Wow.
All I remember is seeing them, nothing, never heard a word, and them going. That's all we saw. I mean, the screaming, it was unbelievable. So I did see them, but I can't remember anything about it now. It's terribly sad, but never mind.
You got tinnitus afterwards. That was the only thing you got.
I bet they all have. I bet they all.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember.
Eventually, that's why they stopped.
That's exactly right. I remember the Slough Adelphi. I mean, sorry to bring the whole tone down, darling, saying Slough, but I remember exactly the same
with that, darling.
And 2 of my friends from school actually got photographs. We were very jealous backstage, but we didn't make it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I never met them, but my mum got me George Harrison's autograph, which I still have. And when we were living in LA, my dad had flown over and bought Sergeant Pepper's new album, and I was about 8, and it was the most, we just listened to it and listened to it and listened to it, and I still know all those lyrics. It was the most magical thing I'd ever heard or seen.
Incredible. I didn't get Sergeant Pepper. See, it was too young. I just thought, what's happened to the Beatles? They've gone all weird.
Oh no, it was beautiful.
Well, Elvis Costello said an interesting thing in a documentary, which was that he said that, every album, he said you'd love it, and then he said the next album would come out, and you'd think, wait a minute, what happened to them? What's this new stuff? And then he said, and then you realized that you loved this one. And he said that was with every single album.
Absolutely.
And that's the other thing that makes them remarkable, I think, is that, in that period of 7 years that they were kind of recording and releasing albums, I think they're the only band you hear grow up. You hear them as kind of young teens with Please Please Me and Love Me Do. And then by the end of it and up to Abbey Road, there are these adults who are exploring the world and experimenting and looking
Lucy
forward.
and the Sky with Diamonds, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Will you come back
Sanjeev,
again,
thank you
please,
so
darling?
much.
Please come back.
Always. I wait here basically, waiting for you to call me. I haven't moved since we last met. I've changed the t-shirt. That's about it.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lots of love to you all. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.
What a wonderful man.
He is so fabulous, so funny, isn't he? But he's so modest. I mean, he doesn't really talk about, he sent loads of scripts, I know that, and and he never really, he says he's out of work, but that there's so much going on in his life.
And he's so diverse in his talent as well. And
so
he's so
diverse.
Interesting in all the things that he talks about.
Yeah,
his
he is very intelligent.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Anyway, girls, we've got to go. We'll see you next week, everyone.
You betcha.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
then. Bye.